guys, welcome to Irish Footy Vlogs. Welcome to another First Division review show. Delighted to welcome Cian Menton back today. As you can see, he's looking well, he's looking chirpy. What's the crack, Cian? You well?
All right, bud. We lived to fight another day.
Fantastic. Fair play to you. You're missed here anyway as well. And like a lot of people, obviously, they knew you were hospitalised, but you're going well now, aren't you? Things are on the up.
No wonder, man. I'm feeling bleeding great. And you know, the lads done a great job, of fairness to them.
Pats would do that to you. Pats would do that to you, to be honest.
They won the last few weeks, so that's why he's better now. Like, you know, that was the tonic for the troops, so to speak. We'll start off with at the Carlisle grounds. Finished Bray Wanderers 0, Galway United 0. And we'll start with Cian, actually. Seems he's back, Philip. And, you know, this game, it kind of stopped Galway in the tracks a little bit. We were speaking, Cian, last week, and said, Philip and Dad's, how, you know, if Galway could get a bit closer to Shelburne, they could put them under pressure. But, look, it's not a bad result, but it's very difficult to win every week. Another clean sheet, but it just stops them in their tracks a little bit, doesn't it, this result?
Yeah, look, I don't think they're ever going to catch Shells, to be honest. Yeah. I think they can probably win every game from now to the end of the year, and they still won't catch Shelburne. I just think Shells have it wrapped up now. Look, they Shells people and stuff like that won't want me saying that or putting the bit around them. But you know, I think the First Division title is over at the minute for me. And anyway, Galway have really come into it the last couple of weeks, and they're still getting negative comments, and people are saying they're still not playing great. And they're the best of the rest at the minute, you know, where they are in the table and what they're doing. So, you know, they've really come on leaps and bounds the last couple of weeks. Definitely a lot slower and a lot far off the pace than people thought probably at the start of the season. But, you know, they've really turned things around at the minute. They're definitely in with a chance. And look, you'd fancy them in the playoffs. You know, you'd fancy them coming up with the experience that they have and stuff like that. So, like I said, I think everyone's playing for the playoff position at the minute now, and then it's anyone's game. But, you know, it was a poor game to watch. I had the pleasure of watching this game again. It wasn't one I look back on. That's a couple of Bray games this year now for me that haven't really done it for me. But, you know, I think Bray would be more disappointed more so than Galway. I just, you know, they've gone a couple of weeks now without a win and scoreless draws and stuff like that. So, you know, they'd be disappointed with themselves, because I think they'd expect better from themselves, and you know, they probably would have been pushing for the title this year in their opinion. Like, they would have probably been quietly confident, especially after the way they kind of lost it towards the end of last season. But you know, they've still a good bit to go, and it was just a poor game overall, I thought.
Yeah, I mean, Philip, Bray are still the draw specialists, aren't they, in the First Division, in fairness? Yeah. No one wants to be the draw specialists.
Yeah. Look, I suppose I'm looking at it from a Bray's perspective, although they were very much in the game, because I went and looked back on it as well. I think they probably were a bit fortunate in the first half not to have at least 2 goals scored against them. So I think if you look back on it, obviously, when you're 0-0 against Galway, a flying Galway, let's be honest, over the past few weeks they've been excellent, and I'm telling you now, they've been. And from looking back on the game against Bray, they were just as good as they have been over the past few weeks, Keith. But the ball just hasn't went in the net, you know. And look, they don't play. They haven't played expansive football this year. They try knock it down a bit and get it down on the ground and play, but I don't know if they have the caliber of player to do it. But saying that, like, they're very physical and a strong side, you know what I mean? And that definitely showed throughout the game. I was actually very impressed with Bray and how defensively organised they were in the second half. I thought it was a big improvement on the first half. As I said, the game could have been over at half time, but it wasn't. And you can only give credit to Bray. Look, Bray supporters might look at it and say, geez, another draw. But I personally think, looking at Galway the past few weeks, they're the informed team in the league, and a draw against them at this current stage, Keith, is a very, very good result.
Yeah, finished Athlone Town, Shelburne 3. Athlone went ahead early on here through Luke Byrne, OG, Shane Farrell equalised, Dale Rooney grabbing a couple of goals as well. And I suppose, Philip, I'll start with you on this one. We felt Athlone were going to get something out of this game, but Shelburne just rammed that down our throats. And, you know, I said a few weeks ago, Philip, can Shelburne And I said it in jest, to be honest, in a way. Can Shelburne go the season unbeaten? There's not that many games left and they're still unbeaten.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, I suppose, Keith, I still see it from, I try to look at it from a neutral's point of view, and I think, I thought about 3 or 4 weeks ago, I thought Shells will get complacent and they will lose a game. I still think it's the case, but I don't think I'm as strong on that point now as I was maybe 4 weeks ago, because this game here, the phone pinged after 5 minutes, and the first thing I said was, geez, me and Keith might be on for the big shock tonight now, a shock result when we called it. But no, look, the quality it just showed through, you know what I mean, for Shells. And Athlone, I went back and looked at the highlights, Keith. Athlone had a couple of chances in the game. It's been the same thing for Shells. They're allowing teams to get chances in the game. And I thought Meany was brilliant as well. Do you know what I mean? I just think he's been so good the past couple of weeks since he's come back. Obviously, watched him against Cobh. I thought he was excellent. And just looking back on the bits of the game that I could see, he looked like he was very much the person to go to for Athlone. So I think, look, Athlone obviously be disappointed to lose, but I think they will take something out of the game. The fact that they went ahead against the league leaders, the runaway title winners at this stage now. But obviously, you have to look on the other side as well. Defensively, conceding 3 goals in any game is not something that you want to do. So I'd say they'll look at it. They'll take some positives, but there will be negatives as well with the goals they conceded. And it seems to be a thing. They just seem to keep conceding from either set pieces or else just complete unorganization at the back. Do you know what I mean? It was evident again in the Cabinteely game, but Cabinteely didn't have the quality of player to go and get a goal. So I think they'll just need to regroup themselves now for the next few weeks. But Shells, as we said, looks like they're going to run away with it.
Yeah, Cian, I think the thing with Shelburne is we've actually talked about how many players can score goals to be match winners. There's Dale Rooney kind of this week with the 2 goals, Farrell getting one as well. There's so many players that can come in and score goals, haven't they, for that division anyway?
Yeah, look, they've probably the biggest squad in the 2 divisions, in my opinion, that's effective in terms of, like, a player comes out, like, where if Michael O'Connor's not scored and you have Yo there, you've strength and depth everywhere on the pitch. I think Sean Quinn, losing him was a bit of a loss for them. I know he's gone to America and stuff, so he's not going to anyone else in the league really. So that's a positive as well. Well, it's a shame for the league because I think he's a smashing player at what he does. But losing a player like him, and he's not going to be missed. And I think that says it all about Shelburne. Really, like, we'll get on to Shamrock Rovers later, but I think the 2 teams over the weekend was the way Shells came back and the way Shamrock Rovers came back. They really showed what champions do and what league winners do. The way they ran out, like, they didn't get it all their own way. Athlone went ahead in the game. Athlone probably they definitely deserved to go ahead, and Shells started a bit slow, but they dug deep. They got the ball, they started playing their own game again and got themselves into the game to win it. And look, I think the minute Shells scored the first goal to make it 1-1, I knew Shells were going to win this. And anyway, it was kind of just a matter of how many before the game even started, in my opinion. Athlone kind of went off the boil a little bit, and they've really dropped from their early season form, and they've dropped to where probably I expected them to be, in around that position. And people, I think, got a little bit too excited. But, I think Athlone to be happy where they are at the minute. They're still in with a fighting chance. They're right bang in the middle of the playoff spots and stuff like that. So, still an awful lot to play for. But, look, I think Shells is just a conclusion now at the minute. It's just game by game. And I think Shells are in a great position now where I'm not going to say they can take the eye off the league a little bit, but, Cup is coming up and, they can start focusing on maybe trying to go on a big cup run and, put the Shells side up against anyone in the Premier Division. And, Shells it would probably be an even game with any of them. And it's tough as well, Shells are used to winning this year especially. And, you're coming into play teams in the Premier Division who are not consistent, because nobody's consistent in this league. Like, you'd be coming up against, well, I know Rovers won the weekend, but if Shells ended up getting Shamrock Rovers or something like that, you'd nearly fancy Shells. considering the form they're in and the way Shamrock Rovers are, or even Sligo at the minute, you know. So I think Shells are in a great position now where they can look at the cup and possibly go on a run. And look, I wouldn't be surprised to see them in the very latter stages of it.
Yeah, interesting if they got Pats later on in the cup. But Treaty United 2, UCD 1 and finished. Jack Lynch with 2 goals, Colin Whelan with another penalty.
Yeah.
They seem to get a lot of penalties, don't they? I'm not saying they're not penalties or whatever, just saying they do get a lot of penalties. But Whelan tucks them away 9 times out of 10. Not sure he's missed one this season, actually. But Treaty now are up level with Galway, and UCD are 4 points back. I'll start with you, Cian, on this one. The Treaty train just keeps going, I suppose, isn't it?
Look, unbelievable. Absolutely unbelievable. For me now, we've had the pleasure to watch this team week in, week out now with I have the stream since week 1, you know, so we've been watching this team and, you know, probably 2 or 3 known players in the side. So now we know them all by name, and you know how good they are and what they can bring to the league. And I think it's an absolute credit to Tommy and, you know, to bring this group of lads together. Like I said, they weren't thrown together. These Treaty United knew they were going to be in the league way before Christmas. He had his sport sorted, so it's not a case of he threw them in last minute. But you know,
but you still have to bring that team together on the pitch.
He has absolute gems in that side, and they work together for the team. They're not spectacular. You know, they're not playing this football that you sit there with a cigar in your hand and watch. It's not that type of football, but they're winning games, and I think that's the most important thing. You know, they never say die. Shells last week, like what a strike that was, and you know that confidence alone, that felt like a win. They have been really a breath of fresh air. I say it every time I'm on, but you know, I don't really know what else to say about them. They're just, what a win that is, like against UCD, and you know, they have themselves right in there now, and the form that they're on, you know, if they can keep that up, you know, they, like I said, with Galway, stuff like that, it's anyone's game really. And I have to say now, I'm excited for this first division playoffs when the season does end and the teams start coming up against each other in the cup format, and you know, whoever wins goes through. And I think it's going to be a really tough one, and I wouldn't be surprised to see 2 teams in the Premier Division next year from the first division.
No, definitely not. Philip, I mean, Treaty are now 8 points above Athlone, who are in 6th place, so they've an 8-point gap of the playoffs as such. I mean, it's impressive, isn't it?
Yeah, I completely agree with everything that Keno said there, to be honest with you. He kind of hit the nail on the head, Keith. You know, they've been fantastic, and you can only give them credit because, as he said as well, it's not the best football to watch, but it is very, very well organised. I think if there's any team you'd look at in the top and the first division, if you're looking for organisation in a team, I think you'd say Treaty would be right up there with both sets of both divisions in terms of how well organised they are, you know, and you can only give credit. And look, I suppose from a UCD perspective, the wheels have just completely fallen off their season. It's so difficult to see it because I like watching UCD play. They play some really good football, but they're starting to get bullied a bit in games now from looking back on it, you know. So like, it's something that I've noticed in the past couple of weeks. And again, Treaty just really, really good on the night. You have to give them top marks, and I'd say they'll be really fancying themselves. Galway, Athlone, whoever's in the playoffs, I think Treaty will be right there till the very end.
I'm just smiling there because we're coming on to Wexford and Cork and it finished 0-0. I mean, Philip, we were talking about this last week and we were saying there's going to be goals in this game. I don't think any of us thought this would be 0-0 because both teams can be quite naive at times defensively. Wexford have played well as an attacking force the last few weeks. Even Cork have. 0-0. What happened there, Philip?
I was told the sheep went home and all, to be honest with you, at half time. It was that poor. Like, I have to say, I look back on the highlights, Keith, and like there was very little even put in that. Do you know what I mean? And that was about 2 minutes long. And
did you see Gavin Wood's video? Actually, his little segment.
Yeah, he was asleep, and like, do you know what I mean? That just sums up the game, really. Like, we can turn around and chat about their seasons. Both teams have been absolutely miserable. Do you know what I mean? And Like, I don't even think Cian needs to speak about it because it was the worst game I've ever seen in any League of Ireland history. Both teams are having a stinker of a year, and yeah, I just nothing else really to say about it.
We had the pleasure of watching 65 minutes of that game. I checked the score and I seen it was 0-0, and I didn't watch any more. Oh my days, that was like.
If there was one game that someone said there'd be goals in it this weekend, I would have picked that one.
Bray played Treaty at the opening day of the season on the Sunday afternoon, right? And I was speaking about this game, and that Cork game is on par, if not worse.
Says a lot.
Yeah, it was absolutely appalling. And I think, look, Wexford would be delighted. They got a point against Cork City, but when you say it like that, you say Cork City, you think of the league winning sides, the cup winning sides. You don't think of the disaster of the first division side.
It's talking about 9th and 10th in the first division.
Yeah, it's absolutely embarrassing. Now, I'm not saying it's embarrassing for Wexford. Jesus, no, not at all. I think they have improved a little bit when Ian has come in, and I'm looking forward to seeing him now with a full winter behind him, and seeing what he can do then next season. But Cork City, I think I said enough even before I went away for a few weeks. I think I said enough about Cork. If anyone wants to go back to week 1 or 2, I think you can just snip that week 1 or 2 and just put it into every single video key, because my view doesn't change at all on Cork City.
I honestly think the season couldn't end quick enough for them, honestly. Right, so Cobh Ramblers beat Cabinteely 1-0, Cian. This is the final game of the weekend. This was actually on Saturday evening. Cabinteely haven't scored in 4 or 5 games, struggling badly for goals. They've scored 13 goals this season, which is quite poor. To be fair, Cobh have only scored 14 themselves, so we thought this would be tight. Cobh won it with 3 minutes to go. But point behind Cab on the table now, Cobh.
Yeah, I seen it was 1-0. I seen the score was later on, so I watched the last 20, 25 minutes or something of the game. The weather has been beautiful. I haven't had a chance to watch every game, but yeah, so I only seen the tail end of it really, and looked like Cobh are gonna score in the game. Now I knew the score, so it's easy for me to say that. But they were definitely the team bringing it forward and going for it. They'd be delighted to get that win. It's when you score so late on, it just gives you such a boost, and it feels like 7 or 8 points. Never mind 3. It's just that buzz, that last minute, and. Honestly, I thought Cabinteely, they'll go out and beat Galway or something. They'll go out and put in a great performance, and then, they're just flat some weeks. And you know what? This team now is in the first division since about, I would say 2015, is it? Around
something like that. I think you could be actually dead on there, yeah.
2015, if I'm right in thinking. And I'm saying to myself, they've gone nowhere really, and they've probably I don't know their revenue. I don't know what the story is, but I would say they're probably losing a few bob each year. Now in the senior side, now I'd say they're making it on the academy and the fantastic infrastructure they have there. But I'd say that's what's funding it in anyway. But they haven't gone anywhere as a football club, in my opinion. So, I know they've got to the playoffs and stuff like that, and they've had some really good teams and players and stuff, but, they just need that extra bit. And I think, I think they need to probably spend a few bob, at loan did this season, teams have done to get themselves that little fighting chance and get themselves up into the playoffs, because, they're a club at the minute that's not really going anywhere, and nobody expects them to go anywhere. But you're there, you're playing now. You're in the league 7, 8 years, wherever it is now. You want to go and compete. You don't want to be 6th or 7th in the first division every year. There's no, man. I wouldn't take pride in that. I wouldn't settle for that. Now I know a lot of the fan base is kids and stuff like that, and. Probably older folks or whatever it may be, they don't have...
It is tough in fairness in Dublin when you do have long-standing clubs like your Shamrock Rovers, your St. Pat's, your Bohemians, and Shelburnes. Yeah.
100%. But you know, like, what do? Do you sit back and be that club that's 6th or 7th in the first division every year, or do you say, "Hey, I'm not settling for that," and put yourself up there? Now, I know they're not going. I'm not saying go by any means. I'm not saying go out of your means and spending and go mad. But you know, I think they could do a little bit more, in my opinion.
Yeah, Philip, I mean, Cobh, good result for them, pushes them up right behind Cabinteely. They needed that, didn't they?
4 weeks ago, we wrote them off. I think, well, not wrote them off, but we said it was very unlikely that they would get to the playoffs. And they haven't been excellent since then, but they've picked up points when it matters against teams that are in and around them that have just brought them back into it. You know, look, do I think they'll get to the playoffs? No. But do I think they'll have a better season than most teams around them at the moment? I think in terms of expectation, yeah, absolutely. You know, as in regards to the game, like, it was pretty scrappy from what I've seen anyways, until the last half an hour, where it looked like it was just, as Keno said, it looked like Cobh were going to win the game. Look, I don't know. I just think it hasn't clicked for Cobh this year. I think they've got the players that they've got in haven't been good enough. I mean, like, you can't.
They haven't replaced Rob Manley at all. Now, it's not easy to do that, but they haven't come close to replacing him.
Haven't been able to. And even your man this, when I watched them the other night, Keith, he wasn't too bad, but the midfield, Cabinteely need a new midfield right across, to be honest with you. I'd say the only one that sticks out, I've mentioned him a couple of times in the past couple of weeks, is McPhillips. I think he's probably the only one I would hold on to. With all due respect, I just don't think any of the other players have quality to play through teams. Like, at loan, they're not the best side in the division. They really struggled. Cabinteely really struggled to play through them. And it was the same with Cobh as well. Do you know what I mean? And if you're struggling to play through teams like these, you're not going to finish in the playoff spots. It's as simple as that. Do you know what I mean? So I think they just need to reevaluate, as Keno said. Maybe if they can get a few bob in the bank, go and spend it somewhere and get someone else in, that will probably push them 3 or 4 places up and have an actual chance going into a playoff, rather than just finishing in the playoff spots. And whatever revenue you generate from that, I'm not sure, but, like, do you know what I mean? You want to be competitive going into the playoffs, not just there on the means of finishing 6th. So, yeah, I think they just need to draw a line through the past couple of weeks and try build the momentum again, because, as we said, they're out of the playoffs now and they don't really look like getting back into it.
Yeah, brilliant stuff, guys. We'll leave it there. Please, guys, like the video, subscribe if you're new, and hit your bell notification button so you don't miss a video. Good stuff, boys.